Hello and welcome to Bloke on the InRange. You're not the chap.
No, I'm not the chap. I'm just that guy from the States.
Oh yeah. We've got Karl from InRange here, and apparently there's this really contentious issue that's come up on his channel, and he'd like to pick my brains on it. What was it?
Oh, is it Dodge versus Chevy?
What are they? Non-German cars?
Is it Macintosh versus PC?
Don't think so.
Or is it bolt action versus semi-automatic?
It might be that, because I shoot a lot of bolt action.
You do. There's been a lot of that, and we've and on InRange we occasionally venture into that world of old trash, and we find them fun to shoot, but turns out that they're not competitive anymore. Not in a match, but definitely not in the real world.
No. So, yeah, but apparently there are people out there who have the opinion that they're not obsolete in a military perspective.
Yeah, well, being that and being you the bloke from Bloke on the Range, I would think that you would argue that they absolutely are the thing you should still use. Like, you would still take an Enfield into battle, right?
No.
What? How could that be? This is Bloke on the Range. I don't understand.
Because they're obsolete.
Oh, what? Wait a minute, but there's snipers.
Yep, that's snipers.
And there's hunting.
That's hunting.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You mean for the infantrymen, you wouldn't want a bolt-action rifle?
No.
In fact, I would argue, and I've said this on InRange, and people get really weird about this, you don't even want a bolt-action rifle for snipers anymore. But what are your thoughts on that? You do a lot of precision shooting.
It's not provided that you've got a case catcher, so you're not going to have a nice little spinny, shiny thing flying out.
Sure.
Why not? AR-10 based sniper rifles, precision rifles these days are, to all practical purposes, they are just as accurate as their bolt-action equivalents.
So, wait a minute, you got to define practical purposes, right? When you talk about practical purposes, people out on the internet there, at least what I see in the comments, think that sniping means engaging targets at 4,500 meters.
Oh, like extreme ballistic range.
Yeah, I mean, where actually the bullet's like almost going into like space flight before it comes back down. Believe it or not, that's something I was actually at a shoot in New Mexico once. We were attempting to engage targets out at 4,500 meters. And if you look at the trajectory of the bullet, you're going into wind conditions that they're not readable because they're literally going up into atmospheric conditions and coming back down.
Yeah, you look at the old machine gun tables for the Vickers with the Mark 8Z ammunition, and it is huge because they were using these out to almost the extreme ballistic range, and they've got tables out to like 5,000 yards or something.
Yes.
And the trajectory is just massive, and the height above sight line is just gigantesque.
The point is, when the bullet gets to this point of apex of its flight, you don't even know what's going on up there. Wind swirls, wind, whatever, as they come down and kind of land randomly.
Yeah.
Now, if you're using a machine gun and you're literally just doing a beat zone, I can see that. But I guess what I'm getting to here is
you're averaging it out over a rather large number of shots when you're doing 250 round bursts.
What I'm getting to here is that's not really a practical sniper engagement distance.
No. I think in the popular culture, there's a lot of overestimation of sniper engagement distances, and yes, in the precision shooting world, there's 1,000-yard bench rest and things like that,
of course,
which is a sport, and it might have an application where things develop there end up ultimately in sniper type rifles. I mean, the modern AR-10 based DMR and sniper type rifles are largely influenced by that kind of thing over the last 20 odd years, but it's overestimated. And for pure infantry use, if I may blow my own trumpet, I'm one of the fastest Enfield shooters on YouTube.
I would venture to guess that's correct.
The others being Rob of British Muzzleloaders and Rowan of the Department of Southern Armament Research, who has started his own channel with his friend Dylan for the Antipodeans. And because of limitations on what they're allowed to own, they do a lot of bolt gun stuff, and Rowan likes to run an Enfield really fast. You have been there, you have witnessed.
Yes, and when you are forced into a situation, and forced isn't always the word, there are reasons to enjoy these guns for their historicity, for their engagement, for the skill you can develop using them. And there are situations and conditions, somewhere and sometimes in the United States at this point, but also definitely in Europe, in which your choices are limited in what is legal and what you can acquire. At that point, if your tool is the Enfield, oh my gosh, become the best Enfield shooter you can be. But that still doesn't mean I would think that you should allow that to skew your perspective to argue that it is competitive with a modern AR-15.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've done a lot of Mad Minute videos, and I'm still working on that series. I've got a load of as yet unpublished Mad Minute footage, but my best straight line Mad Minute prone unsupported so far, it was 29 rounds, and if I hadn't stupidly put the charger in the wrong way up because I was shooting rim jammy S&B, so I had to load it asymmetrically.
Yeah, fair.
That cost me, the 30th shot went just over the beep. And if I'd had, the latest batch of Privy, which I used in the UK a few weeks ago, we could load down, up, down, no problems. The corner of the rim was
They've
radius
beveled them
correct.
properly? Wow, amazing.
Because Privy's been variable over the years. Sometimes it's been fine, sometimes it's been low quality control, sometimes it's had hardly any radius at all, sometimes the radius has been asymmetric. And in those cases, if you just get the wrong one at the wrong time, it'll...
That's rim lock.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a trick to get over it, but this stuff, we did a few tests, we deliberately got the rim down behind of a few rounds and fine. But that's like a quarter-mile drag test. It's verging on trick shooting because it's a static target, and I'm doing them at about 25 meters because that's what the range conditions allow. But it's sort of the equivalent of a straight line acceleration drag test.
Yes.
You can't practically shoot 30 rounds in a minute on targets like we've just been shooting in Finnish Brutality. We're actually sitting in Finland right now on this rock, a bit like a black metal band.
Just a little.
Yeah, a two-piece black metal band.
Yeah, two-piece.
Our hair's not quite right though.
Mine's closer than yours.
Yours much closer. You have rather more than me though, so. But that's not practical. I mean, practically any idiot with an AR-15 can shoot better, even in just simple, I'm going to lie down at 25 meters and make however many aim shots I can make in a minute, excuse the flies,
goodbye,
with a lower skill level than me.
Yes.
And do better.
Yeah, so I think what the problem is that we see when we get into this conversation is what people define as practical shooting.
Yep.
And I like you touched on this because the Mad Minute is a very interesting example of the mechanical capabilities of the speed of a bolt-action rifle with a very skilled shooter behind it on a single target from a prone supported position.
Yep.
That is a lot of ifs, right?
Yep.
And that is not practical shooting.
Nope.
It is kind of a trick. It's an interesting thing to do. It does test a specific metric. But when you bring this into a truly practical environment, and obviously practicality has variability, Finnish Brutality, which you just got done with, I would say presents some of the more practical stage designs that you'll see in most matches. And what that kind of thing is, fleeting targets, targets that require timing, targets that require target transitions from one target to the next, moving while engaging a target, or being extremely winded and gassed out when there are 4 targets you have to engage within a par time. These are just examples.
Yeah.
All of those are very different than one static prone position running the bolt as fast as you can.
If you watch some of these Mad Minutes, all of these Mad Minutes aside from the one I did with the M1, I am shagged out at the end.
Yes.
It is hard work. You underestimate it. Okay, you're lying down, all you've got to do is do this, but you're holding up a 9-pound rifle with your muscles, because I'm not resting them. You're doing a lot of work with your right hand. There's a lot of concentration. You've got to count, you've got to go down, you've got to get the stripper clips in there, you've got to get back up, and I'm normally panting at the end.
Interesting.
And that is literally just static shooting, drag racing style. And with Finnish Brutality, a lot of these stages, you're panting before you fired the first shot.
That's true. That's a good point. Absolutely. That's one of the goals, quite honestly.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. And some of the drills we did had 6 shots minimum from a position.
Yes.
Which an Enfield has an advantage over a 5-shot gun there. So a 5-shot gun, you're going to be reloading every single time at a point that's not of your choosing.
There's a reason you saw guys in World War I trying to augment them with trench mags and stuff. Just even if it's a bolt gun, can I get 5 more in this?
Yeah.
Can I get 10 more in this? Because reloads suck, no matter how when you need them. And on a bolt gun, 5 rounds goes
very
fast,
very quickly.
Yes.
Fundamentally, the only situation you take you had a choice where you take a bolt gun over a semi-auto is if you say got an SVT that doesn't run,
which is most of them.
Did
I just say that?
I've owned an SVT. It mostly ran, but then it would do strange things like the gas plug would unscrew and then the gas regulator would wobble loose, and then you've got a bolt gun with no primary extraction at all, and steel cased ammo, and you'd be kicking it. Forget mortaring it, you'd be kicking it.
You know, a good example of this on the oppositional side of that war, on the Eastern Front. So the Germans had the 2 G41s, right? They had the G41M and the G41W, the Walther and the Mauser. The Mauser conformed to the military requirements of having no gas port, being able to function like a bolt action. They made this Rube Goldberg disaster
incredible
of a semi-automatic contraption is the best word you could use for it. And then Walther came out with one that actually was functionally a usable firearm, but did not conform to the requirements. When the 41M came to the field and a lot of guys were being issued, here's your first semi-automatic rifle. This is an example in which the semi-automatic was so bad that a lot of them went, nah, and they stuck with their bolt gun.
Yeah.
The W was the opposite. So there's a place where a semi-automatic that's so bad makes you go stick with something that just works. But if you've got a reliable, reasonably reliable semi-automatic rifle, whether it's chambered in a battle cartridge or it's chambered in intermediate, even better, there's so many things that come to practical application of that gun that's missing from a bolt action. If you're firing a target, first of all, targets in the real world don't want to be hit, right? So you see it, generally speaking, you see me, I'm up, I'm down. There's like a target exposure like that. With a bolt action, unless you're specifically aiming at where that target's going to be and firing at the exact moment that you need to engage it, there's no second shot. It's gone. You've missed, it's over. You've expended a round, recoil impulse throws you off, you get back on your sight picture. By the time you have situational awareness, whatever happened is over.
Yeah.
With a semi-automatic, even a battle rifle, if it's a good one, you can fire, recover, and come back and not lose your situational awareness.
Yeah.
Intermediate cartridge, you don't lose it at all. This allows you to go pop, miss, pop, miss, pop, hit.
Well, and you were running that lovely little AR-15 that you had there.
Yes.
Just superbly. The RO couldn't keep up with calling hit. You actually made quite a few excess
At least
hits
on a few stages. It was like top, 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 top. He's like hit, 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 hit. And I'm like, oh, you only needed 2. Move.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, that's very modern. They're slightly gamer guns, but I mean.
I don't know, that AR-15 was pretty much just an AR with a red dot. There was nothing gamer about that gun. Had a stock trigger.
Free float, and I mean,
yeah, but there's military application that's going that way, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that was a lovely.
It was.
If I'd shot modern, I would have loved to have shot that one.
Yeah, it was a nice gun. Yes.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, I was going to say, talking about the G41M.
Yeah.
It was actually a really common requirement. One of the things that delayed adoption of practical semi-automatic rifles was reliability, and it was a common requirement in all the British tests. They were, the War Department, even pre First World War, was okay. We like this idea. Inventors should present us with their guns in a configuration that works. We won't be funding people who say, I've got a dream and I've got this great design on paper, I want to get it made. No, we won't fund that. But if you can present us a prototype, we'll test it. But one thing they wanted was the ability for it to run as a bolt gun in case the semi-auto functionality failed. So
we don't trust this yet.
Yeah, I mean, and in World War II, the Germans were still untrusting of that. One of the things we take for granted these days is ammo quality, generally.
Yeah.
Unless people are shooting really nasty old surplus that's been drug up from a wreck somewhere, which I have seen.
Or Turkish 8mm. Don't shoot that stuff.
Or
actually.
Romtech modern steel-cased 8mm Mauser. That's just. I actually ditched a comparison shooting video between my 98K and a friend's P14 because that stuff was grouping 4 inches at 25 meters.
Oh, lovely. Wait, well, it's force multiplying where the bullet's tumbling?
Yeah,
you know, when it hits sideways, it has more impact,
it's
right?
making efficient use of the available space.
Oh, fair.
Use
the whole target.
Yeah, wouldn't want to cluster them.
You don't want to waste a target with a nice group.
Yeah, no, it was horrible. But yeah, I think, have we agreed with each other enough yet?
I don't know. Let's go through one just before we finish. Let's do this. So, infantrymen, bolt action. I think we've smashed that.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know that we smashed sniper quite.
No, that's still an open question. Certainly in very sort of sneaky beaky type sniper applications where you really can't be discovered, and you don't want to have a case catcher or anything hanging off the rifle.
Gas system cut off. Yeah,
but then if you've got to cock it, you've got less movement with a...
Chamber the round with a safety on. I mean, okay, so this is getting really esoteric.
Very esoteric.
From the precision perspective and your experience with precision guns, within the practical application, let's define practical application of a sniper to 1,500 meters.
1,500,
which is extreme.
That's getting into 338 and 50 cal
But
territory.
it's extreme.
Yeah.
Semi-automatic rifles can still do that.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. Certainly the modern designs.
Okay. And so why are they not the standard sniper rifle now?
Possibly cost and the sneaky beaky aspect of not wanting... semi-autos converted to bolt actions, selectively or permanently, they aren't as open. They're very popular in the UK for the UK variants of practical rifle, but they have all sorts of Rube Goldberg handles and things on them. and you've still got to let the spring go. Let it go on the spring. Whereas a bolt action, you can chamber around very, very quietly.
Fair.
So I can still see that. The LMT rifle that the Brits adopted with a 6-power ACOG as a DMR, that surprised people because it had a 16-inch barrel, which was, why? It's short, it's for use at long range. But a 16-inch barrel, AR-10 rifle, is still supersonic with the ammunition they were issuing, out beyond, just beyond 800 meters.
Was within the practical application of what they were designing the gun for.
Yeah, it was like, we don't need the barrel length. The extra barrel length doesn't increase inherent accuracy. It reduces the inherent stiffness for the same weight. And provided the bullet is not transitioning to subsonic before it gets to where you need it to go, I think they made a good point there.
I've got the quintessential argument that you'll hear back. And Afghans still use Enfields.
It's what they've got.
They also use muzzle loaders and don't have power.
Yeah.
It's like, I hear this stuff and I'm like, yeah, okay.
And well, the odd harassing bullet going somewhere, it's not hitting anyone at extended range by design. It might be aimed in the general area, but we can't talk of effective fire being brought by one at that sort of range by iron sights. I mean,
so no counter to that either. So in summary, am I really hearing this? A bloke on the range is saying that bolt actions are obsolete, or at least obsolescent.
If this was a surprise to you, you need to watch more of my channel and get my shtick.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
cool.
Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Karl, for inviting me out.
Thank you for
Finish Brutality. Thanks very much to Varstalika and Sako for organising and sponsoring the match. It's been great.
Yes.
It's been great meeting you finally.
Yeah, it has been, actually. And thank you for being one of the gun channels out there that's great to watch and approaches the topic with a dispassionate scientific approach to the content, because that's how we get to the same conclusion. The reason InRange and you and I are on the same page on this is because we're trying to approach it honestly without a bias. That's the goal. And it turns out the answer is the same.
Yeah. We're both in favour of stuff that works and we're both against stuff that doesn't work. And this surprises some people in both cases.
But still go have fun with your bolt guns, because they are fun.
I have a lot of fun. I've got the silly idea that next year I will run one in Finnish Brutality.
I'm here to see that, and I'd like to see how you do, because I have a feeling that you'll do really well.
I hope. We shall find out. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. If you don't know who Karl is, where have you been? InRange, go over there, become their patrons. Buy their t-shirts. There are Finnish Brutality t-shirts, and you don't have to have been to the concert to wear the t-shirt. We're on Patreon as well, so if you're coming over here as a visitor from InRange or any of the other channels, please support us. It allows me and the chap occasionally to come out to places and meet cool people, do cool things, shoot cool guns, shoot cool competitions, buy cool stuff at Varstalika, visit their site, buy their stuff. It is awesome.
It is quintessential that if you like this kind of content on the internet, the stuff that's actually intellectually stimulating and worth watching, in my opinion, such as your content, support those creators. It doesn't have to be InRange, whatever ones that are your thing, but it is really Patreon and that kind of crowdsourced funding that allows this type of interesting content to exist. Because if it was by monetization, one, it would be revoked. Second of all, it wouldn't have the views, let's be honest, to make the monetization. So it's you guys that keep guys like Bloke on the internet, and I'm thankful because I like watching your stuff.
Thank you very much, and I like watching your stuff.
Thank you.
So, see you again sometime. Bye.